Hey, I'm reviewing all three of the Women's World Cup games today in one video. It just makes life a hell of a lot easier because I didn't catch all the football today. The New Zealand-Netherlands game was only a 1-0 to the Dutch. That was actually, I think, the best game of the three to watch because it was so open and so balanced. And for a 1-0 to Holland, it actually was a real fun game. I missed the first half because of work. However, I caught the second half and I was really entertained by the second half. I actually really enjoyed watching it. But as the second half wore on, the Dutch slowly took control. The Kiwis were retreating more and more on each play until they were virtually on top of the goalkeeper. They were being pushed back, and eventually a goal had to come, but it came in added time. The Dutch like doing that. It's the third game in their World Cup in a row that they've scored after 85 minutes. They like scoring goals late on in games, but they don't score many goals. So that could be a hindrance to the Dutch as they had a lot of possession and were very wasteful in front of goal. They don't score a lot of goals. Much like Canada last night, they do not score a lot of goals, and that could be a hindrance to them going forward. With the amount of chances they created, they should be getting 2 or 3 goals a game, not just one. The Kiwis, they created chances as well. They'll be disappointed with the defeat there. They are a solid side. They're a pretty solid team, but again, their lack of goal scoring is going to hinder them as well. But the Dutch, they like leaving it late. Great technical ability, great pace on their passing, good passing and moving. The Kiwis, great defence, good, solid, organised. And again, counter-attack, pretty pacey. It was a very open game. At the beginning of the second half, it was end-to-end stuff. So much like the first half, I've seen the highlights. That was pretty open as well. So very entertaining game. And it was only a 1-0. But there we go. The Dutch scoring in added time after 90 minutes. They do have a habit of that. Chile, Sweden. The talking point of this is not that it's a 2-0. Not that it's Chile's first World Cup, it's the 45-minute thunderstorm delay. That's only the second time I've ever seen that in a professional tournament, international level football match. The last time I saw that was in 2014, in the build-up to the 2014 World Cup, with a pre-tournament friendly between Honduras and England in Miami, with a similar length delay. That sets a precedent now for tournament play because in 2008 in the men's Euros and in 2006 there was some really heavy biblical rain, especially in 2008 Switzerland, Austria. Games were played on when the pitches were turning into swimming pools. So that now sets a precedent for weather delays. It was, I think, 45, 50 minutes. I've never seen that before, really, at tournament level. I know in the past there have been matches played in worse conditions or equally bad conditions, but that sets a precedent. So that's going to be interesting to see if that happens again in the World Cup. Also, Sweden adapted better to that lengthy stoppage. They scored 2 goals in the last 10 minutes, 2 very well-worked goals as well. Chile were in the game. They frustrated Sweden. Sweden had to grind out a win, but I think that win will serve Sweden well. The fact they actually had to, break down opposition and work for it will serve them a lot better than what the USA have just done against Thailand. I honestly believe this 2-0 win will actually serve Sweden better than the 13-0 that USA have had over Thailand, because they actually were tested to actually figure out how to break down a very well organised, very well drilled and actually pretty fit Chile side that kept up with the Dutch and didn't look like they were falling off tackles or losing energy. And with that, I think the way Chile were undone was by the lengthy delay. And I think the Swedes, with all that extra experience, they might have had various experiences of things going on. So I think the Swedes used their experience to overcome that lengthy delay, which could have put them off their game, could have disrupted the flow of the game. They just got on with it, and they actually were. It was all Sweden after the rain delay was over, well, the thunderstorm delay. And their 2 goals were very well taken, and they kept their concentration. That's the difference. The USA beating Thailand, I think the Sweden win over Chile will serve Sweden better than the USA hammering Thailand 13-0. It's a record-breaking win. 10 goals in the second half, which is a record breaker for a second half. It was only 3-0 at half time. There was a flurry of, I think, 4 goals in 6 minutes in the second half that basically the Thai confidence ebbed away, their heads dropped, and it was just every attack looked like a certain goal after that. This is a good advert for the women's game because it shows the quality of the USA, but it's also a bad advert because of the golfing class between a top nation and a nation ranked 35 places below them. All the other games have been pretty competitive, pretty close. No big blowout scores. France, South Korea, at least the South Koreans had the fitness levels to keep going for the full 90 minutes, and occasionally created chances and they have some good players. They just looked a bit shell-shocked by the occasion, and the French are the hosts. It's the only game I can really think of a perfect performance by our side. But 13-0, I don't think the USA could ask for a much better start goal-scoring wise. I think the issue is it wasn't a very competitive game. They just steamrolled the opposition. If they were to play a team like Sweden or Chile, that would have, as their first game, would have served them better going throughout the tournament, because they would have had to play tough opposition that they would have to have worked out defensively, tactically, and actually had to outplay, because they're playing against equals. USA Thailand, it was a shooting gallery. But the accuracy on their shooting says something, though. Very accurate shooting by the USA. Other teams have had lots of shots on goal, or lots of shots and attempts, and shooting accuracy percentages are really low. The USA, I think, would be about 70% shooting accuracy tonight on goals and forcing saves out the goalkeeper. Other sides, much lower shooting percentages, more like 15, 20, 25%. This is why the USA are the world's best side in the women's game. When they get an opportunity, they take it. Canada last night, wasteful. The Dutch today, wasteful. Sweden, wasteful. So the previous 3 games have 4 goals between them. 13-1. And the amount of shots created by the Canadians, by the Swedes, by the Dutch, and the Kiwis, and the Chileans, and the Cameroonians. There was a lot of shots created by these sides. Argentina and Japan as well, scoreless. You add up all the opportunities these teams have had, and their shooting percentages, and the amount of shots actually on target. Look at the USA today. It's a no-brainer. There's a reason why they are so much better than some of the other teams at this World Cup. They put chances away. They put 13 of them away today. They could have had 2 penalties as well, but VAR was used, actually, I think, very effectively. It was quickly used. Whether the decisions were right or not is debatable, especially on one of the penalties. It looks a dead cert penalty to everyone apart from the VAR, but the VAR reviews were quick today. They took a few seconds and were done. The last few days, they've taken lengthy spells to get a VAR review. Yesterday there were none, and today there are 2 in the USA game. But in every other game there was VAR. It's been several minutes, and I think having a few games without VAR, they've looked at it and sped it up the process a little bit. But the USA 13-0, that's a world record for a World Cup. It is. And 10 goals in the second half is a record as well. So they've broken 2 records today. That's scary. Really scary. If they keep up that shooting percentage against better opposition, they are going to win this tournament. But at the same time, they weren't tested today. Now, Sweden, especially, is going to be a real test for them. A real test. And the Swedes, I think, would have been better off with their game today than the USA were, because they were tested. They were forced to break down a stubborn opposition, and they had that lengthy weather delay, and they came through that, keeping their concentration and actually, being forced to play, whereas the USA, it was more like a training session. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your comments below. I will have some more videos for you soon. I've got some other videos planned as well, which are not football related. So if you're a non-football fan, you'll be very pleased to know that I'll have some rugby league videos coming soon, and an NHL preview video for the Stanley Cup Final Game 7. So there is some stuff coming up. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.